Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for a tale of wit, charm, and questionable life choices. Today we're diving into the life of Odysseus, the ancient Greek world's original smooth talker. Buckle up, because this hero's journey is wilder than a frat party on Mount Olympus. Our story begins with little Odysseus, born to Laertes and Anticlea on the island of Ithaca. Now Ithaca isn't exactly the party capital of ancient Greece. Imagine a rocky outcrop with more goats than people. But hey, it's home. As a young lad, Odysseus decided to spice up his life by visiting his grandfather Autolycus on Mount Parnassus. Now, most family reunions involve awkward small talk and overcooked casseroles, but not for our boy Odysseus. He thought, you know what would make this trip memorable? A near-death experience? So off he went on a hunting trip with Grandpa and the uncles. Picture this, young Odysseus probably sporting an ancient Greek version of a man bun, face to face with a wild boar. The boar, clearly not impressed by Odysseus's fashion choices, decided to give him a makeover by goring his thigh. But our hero, showing early signs of his famous cunning, managed to kill the boar and escape with nothing but a lifelong scar and a cool story for the ladies. I can just imagine him at ancient Greek parties. Hey, wanna see my scar? It's shaped like the Peloponnese. Fast forward a few years, and we find Odysseus as a strapping young man, ready to settle down. But wait, there's a catch. The most eligible bachelorette in Greece, Helen of Troy, yes, that Helen, is up for grabs. Every Tom, Dick, and Hercules wants to marry her. Imagine the ancient Greek version of The Bachelorette. Instead of roses, they're handing out olive branches. And instead of a fantasy suite, it's probably well, let's keep this family friendly. Odysseus, being the smarty pants he is, realizes he doesn't stand a chance against these beefcakes. So he comes up with a brilliant plan. I'll help you choose a husband for Helen if you help me marry her cousin Penelope. Talk about playing the long game. But here's the kicker. All the suitors have to swear an oath to protect Helen's marriage, no matter who she chooses. Odysseus, probably thinking, what could possibly go wrong, agrees. Spoiler alert, everything could go wrong. Go. Everything's going great for Odysseus. He's married to Penelope, they have a bouncing baby boy named Telemachus, and life is good. He's probably thinking, this is it, I've peaked, nothing can ruin this. Enter Helen of Troy, who decides to spice up her love life by running off with Paris of Troy. Suddenly everyone's expected to honor their oath and go to war. It's like getting roped into helping your friend move, but instead of a couch, it's an entire army. Odysseus, not keen on leaving his cozy island life, thinks, I know, I'll pretend to be crazy. Because that's a totally normal reaction to being called to war. He hooks up a donkey and an ox to his plow, because nothing says I'm sane like mismatched farm animals, and starts sowing his fields with salt. I can just imagine Penelope watching from the window, face-palming and muttering, I married this guy? But Palamedes, the original party pooper, isn't buying it. He places baby Telemachus in front of the plow and Odysseus swerves to avoid his son, blowing his cover. Pro tip, if you're faking insanity, commit to the bit. Odysseus could have really sold it by yelling, I'm the king of the potato people. But hindsight is 20/20. Now that Odysseus is forced to join the war effort, he decides to make the best of it. He's tasked with recruiting Achilles, who's hiding out on Scyros, disguised as a woman. Apparently, cross-dressing was the go-to method for avoiding war in ancient Greece. Who knew? Achilles' mother, Thetis, had hidden him among King Lycomedes' daughters, probably thinking, they'll never look for a fierce warrior among a bunch of princesses. Clearly, she underestimated Odysseus' detective skills. Odysseus, channeling his inner Sherlock Holmes, comes up with a clever plan. He arrives at Scyros with a cart full of gifts for the ladies, but sneaks in some weapons too. It's like bringing a sword to a makeup party. Subtle, Odysseus, real subtle. When Pyrrha, Achilles' drag name, shows more interest in the sword than the silk, Odysseus knows he's found his man. I can just imagine the conversation. Odysseus, so Pyrrha, that's an interesting way to hold that lipstick. Achilles, this isn't a lipstick, it's clearly yes, I love makeup, how do I look? Odysseus, like a man in a dress holding a sword. And that, my friends, is how Odysseus accidentally became history's first drag queen talent scout. As we leave Odysseus, he's sailing towards Troy with a reluctant Achilles in tow. Little does he know that the next 10 years will be filled with epic battles, clever strategies, and enough drama to fill a season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians Trojan edition. He's probably on the boat looking back at Ithaca thinking, I'll be back in no time. How long could a war possibly last? Oh, sweet summer child, will Odysseus survive the Trojan War? Will he ever see his beloved Penelope again? And most importantly, will he finally learn that his actions have consequences? Tune in next time for Odysseus, the Troy Years, where our hero learns that what happens in Troy definitely doesn't stay in Troy. But before we wrap up, let's take a moment to appreciate Odysseus's unique problem-solving skills. This is a man who, when faced with a challenge, thinks, how can I solve this in the most complicated, roundabout way possible? It's like he's allergic to straightforward solutions, and yet somehow it works for him. Maybe there's a lesson here for all of us. Next time you're faced with a problem, ask yourself, what would Odysseus do? And then maybe do the opposite. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the early life of Odysseus. Remember folks, in ancient Greece, life was simple. Avoid prophecies, don't anger the gods, and always bring a wooden horse to a siege. Until next time.